Heyo, what's up, everybody? Good morning and a happy Monday morning to all of you. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend. We appreciate you making us a part of your starts, whether you're listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, excuse me, 790, streaming online at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your Alexa devices. Just say, "Yo, Alexa, play WAYY video streams." Also up and rolling YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, all that good stuff there. But again, hopefully you stay dry and you had a good weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Lots to get to here. Another record-breaking weekend for the Brewers. Franchise record, 14 wins in a row. Nearly extended it yesterday afternoon, but man, what kind of a drama-filled weekend for the Brewers. Come from behind victories on Friday and Saturday, especially that Friday game. I mean, criminy down 8-1 and then coming back to win it. Yelly with a couple of home runs using the euchre bat for cry. Had the comeback win Saturday. Nearly pulled it off again in comeback fashion yesterday with Contreras hitting the 2-run shot in the ninth to take a 2-1 lead. But the Reds tying it up and forcing extra innings, and the Reds snapping that winning streak by the Brewers. Series win for the Crew. That makes 13 consecutive series wins against the Reds, by the way. That's pretty awesome there. So, and now it all sets up for the Cubbies. 5 games, 4 days, doubleheader today. Last time we'll see Brewers Cubs in the regular season this year. Maybe we'll see it in the postseason if it comes to that. But in the regular season, this is the final series we'll see for between these two teams. And the Brewers are entering this series with an 8-game lead over the Cubs for first place in the division. So I think it's fair to say that if the Cubbies want any hope, any chance of still winning this division, probably got to win this series. Probably got to win at least get 3, I would think, and then try to narrow that lead down. But we'll see how it all plays out. But nonetheless, a huge, huge series coming up starting today. We've been talking about this series, it feels like, for months now, looking ahead to this grueling stretch of games. And it should be a doozy. It should be a fun one. Oh man, I cannot wait. I don't think anybody can wait. It's nerve-wracking, it's nervous, it's excitement, it's a bunch of different things. It kind of feels like the playoff series coming up. You feel like there's going to be some high emotions in this series. You feel like there's going to be some intensity in this series, a little bit of that rivalry, add on a little bit to that history there. Potentially could be a very, very memorable series, and hopefully memorable in the Brewer sense there. But I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited about this series. No question about it. So, but again, today is the doubleheader day. All right. So, but then 3 more right after that. Then finally, the Brewers will return back home to take on the Giants this weekend. So we'll wrap up the weekend series against the Reds, and then obviously take a look at this series going up against the Cubbies. So, in case you're kind of wondering, how does the pitching lining up? We got Freddie Peralta for the first game today, going up against Horton, who is 7-3 with a 3.07 ERA. That will be game 1 for the series today. So, bullpen might want to be ready to go with a little Freddie Peralta on the mound today. So, plenty of Brewers chat coming your way here this morning. Packers, speaking of comebacks, Packers had to take a second half comeback to win their first preseason game of the season, to win game 2 of the preseason schedule, 23-19 over the Colts. We got to talk about what we're seeing with the Packers so far. I know it's preseason and such, but again, issues with the offensive line and penalties. Anthony Belton, a first half to forget. 5 penalties for the rookie offensive lineman, back-to-back penalties for illegal formation in that game in that first half. You can tell if you were watching it, LaFleur running into halftime, just chewing him out. And a nice bounce back second half. I think the Packers only had 1 penalty total in the second half there, and that obviously helped lead to the comeback victory, if that's something you even care about in preseason and such. But man, oh man, laundry again for the green and gold, but also injuries now for the green and gold. Marshawn Lloyd, another hamstring injury, played in the game, but had to leave. And Matt LaFleur yesterday saying he's going to be out for a while with another hamstring issue for the second-year running back. This kid, I feel bad for him. He can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field right now. What in the world is going on, right? You had Sorrell, the rookie defensive lineman. He's hurt with a knee injury. He's going to be missing some time. So Omar Brown with a scary injury ended up staying in Indianapolis for 2 nights with an issue to his lungs. So just not a yes, got the W. Yes, you got a second half comeback victory and such. Yes, you played better in the second half. But adding on injuries to that too, yeesh. I don't know. But on one positive note, it sounds like Jordan Love will return to practice, or at least do something this week, according to Matt LaFleur, as they get set to welcome the Seahawks for some inter-squad practicing, scrimmaging, and ahead of their final preseason game coming up here this weekend, this Saturday. So final preseason game, and regular season's right around the corner there, peeps, believe it or not. So we got plenty to talk about with the green and gold, considering what we have seen so far from this preseason. Now, I'm usually, anybody who's listened for a long time now knows that I'm probably, not, I don't get riled up too much or overreact too much, especially when it comes to preseason and such. But I mean, that's 2 games in a row now. We've had some issues with the laundry, with the flags getting thrown out there. And boy, I know this week the officials, usually every preseason you have officials that visit camps and help out, and like real officials come in, and NFL officials, I should say, be more specific. NFL officials come in to a training camp practice and such and work with the teams. They're finally coming this week, a little bit later than usual. I don't know if that's been the issue or not, but great Gogly Mowgli. Got to clean that up on the offensive line. So, and just hopefully this team can flip and get healthy, especially a wide receiver too. So plenty of green and gold chats coming your way. We'll catch up with Justice Cleveland in the 8 o'clock hour, WEAU's 13 News, Sports Scene 13 Sports Director. High school football officially begins this week too, so we'll hit a little bit of that with Justice, and catch up on some other things with him. It is Monday morning, which means it's I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Fill in the blanks. Best ones I'll read on the air. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. What do you got for me? All right. Text those on over to that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Or you can comment on the video streams or hit me up on the socials. That's your game plan for us this morning. Let's pitter-patter. Let's get at her, shall we? Let's give the honors to the leadoff for the Brewers. Brewers take a 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Comeback fashion for both their wins, and nearly for the win yesterday. So Brewers now 78-45 on the season. And now we've got this big series with the Cubs starting today for a doubleheader. Lots of Brewers chat to get to, so let's jump right into it. Our first break, we'll get the leadoff going here on this Monday morning. I want to hear from you, though, Brewers fans. Start to hit me up with those texts, all right? Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. You know, when it comes to your home, nothing changes the look and feel quite like new flooring. And I can tell you from personal experience, when my family or our studios needed quality service and a team that we could trust, we went to Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. They've got it all: carpet, luxury vinyl planks, tile, you name it. And it's not just about the huge selection, though, too, about Carpet City Flooring Center. It's the way their entire team takes the time to listen to help you find the perfect fit for your style, your needs, and yes, your budget. From the moment you walk on in, you'll feel at ease. And when it's time for installation, their professionals handle it with care, precision, and respect for your home. If you've been thinking about updating your floors, hey, now's the time. Stop on in at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and see for yourself why they're the place people trust for flooring done right. Carpet City Flooring Center, they'll floor you with service, selection, and savings. All right, let's get the lead off going here this morning, shall we? Brew Crew. Well, the winning streak's over, but they did set a new franchise record, 14 wins in a row. Dramatic fashion over the weekend, too, especially when you go back to Friday and Saturday. First off, before we get to that, I gotta read this because I think it's such a cool little write-up here. So, again, depending on if you like power rankings or not, I look at them. They're not the be-all, tell-all for me, but I just kind of like to see where maybe outsiders view the teams that we talk about and cover and such. And while for the Brewers, the latest power rankings from MLB.com still have the Brewers at number 1. And the little write-up here that they've got, Sunday's loss was amazingly the Brewers' first loss in the month of August. Everything else here is pointing up, though. They still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games. And I love this part. And they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. Love that. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row next month now anyways. The question is whether they can bury the Cubs with 5 games at Wrigley Field this week. Got some at least believing in the Brewers right now and the Euchre magic there. But I mean, this weekend, if there was maybe some people out there not really buying into the Brewers or the magic of what's going on, or maybe kind of like, okay, there really isn't anything going on. This team's it's a fun story. This was just like this weekend where I'm just like, you just kind of throw your hands up in the air and you're like, what in the world is going on? What is going on with this team? Like, in a good way, obviously. You go to Friday night's game, for crying out loud. We started off with Friday's win. Okay? That 10-8 win. When it was 8-1 after 2. 8-1 after 2. But okay, I there was still a little, 8-1. That's a 7-run deficit. You're like, okay, that's going to be tough to overcome. But there was still a small part of me, and I don't think I was the only one. But there was still a small part of me, and I'm like, but wouldn't it be just kind of the 2025 Brewers if somehow they were to inch and claw back in that? Well, lo and behold, in the top of the third, they did it right away by putting up 5 runs. And then they put up 2 more in the fourth to tie it up. And then another run in the 6th and another in the 7th. 17 total hits, 2 homers by Christian Yelich in that game, a 10-8 victory. Yelly almost with another cycle against the Reds. And Jacob Mizorowski, his first start since coming off the injured list, wasn't sharp. Wasn't sharp by any means. Going just 1 1/3, 5 earned runs. DL Hall comes in, 2 2/3 pitching. He gives up 3 earned runs. So between those two, he had 8 earned runs given up right away. And you're like, oh, the streak was fun while it lasted, got the burgers and everything, but it's just maybe not gonna work out this time. But this offense, this team, in 2025 fashion, typical 2025 fashion. Yeah, we good. And you kind of just like what, like, I don't, how do you react to a game like that and that comeback victory? You're like, wow, just this blanket team, man. This team did it again. And then on Saturday, another come from behind victory to get to 14, to set a franchise record. 14 goes extra innings, goes 11 innings. But Quinn Priester going 5 1/3 in this game, 2 earned runs, a solid outing for him, a couple solo shots. Okay. But the Brewers tie it up in the top of the ninth. They each trade a run in the 10th, and then the Brewers scoring 3 in the 11th, holding on as the Reds scored 2 in the bottom of that. But it's just like this team, this blanking team, man. What else? Unbelievable. I mean, to have Saturday's game with Andrew Monasterio hitting a 3-run shot. Come on, right? Andrew Monasterio. We've talked about this team. It feels like different dudes stepping up every night. And the list is long of different guys stepping up and contributing and being that player that helped propel them to victory. And it's Andrew Monasterio with a 3-run shot in the 11th to do it for the Brewers. Come on. That is the typical 2025 Brewers way, isn't it? To have Andrew Monasterio do it. 14 wins in a row, and what number does he wear? Oh, yeah, 14, right? 2025 Brewers. And then they almost do it again yesterday. I mean, when Contreras hit that 2-run shot, how many of us were just like, are you kidding me again? The Brewers don't score anything. Nothing. They're getting blanked. 1-0 in the 9th. But again, there had to have been just a small part of you. There was a small part of me. There was a small part of me saying, they're gonna do something again in the 9th, aren't they? They're gonna do something. They're either gonna tie it up or they're just gonna make some play to take the lead. And lo and behold, Contreras hits a 2-run shot. And you're like, I kind of just like, I had my hat on and I kind of did it and I'm rubbing my head like this. And I'm like, what are we watching? Like, what is this? What is this? This isn't real. There's no way this is real. I loved who was the Reds player? Was it Lux? I can't remember, but like the reaction after Contreras hit, he just kind of just drops down, squatting down, like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, lo and behold, you had the error from Terang, and I know the decision to take out Tobias Myers was met with criticism from a lot of Brewers fans, kind of questioning that. Pat Murphy after the game yesterday saying they went to Grant because he is a ground ball pitcher, and with a runner on, they were hoping that able to flip 2. That didn't work. If it worked, we're not talking about it, but it didn't. So we are talking about it. And maybe a little bit of it, Myers did pitch 2 innings. Maybe a little bit of it is trying to save him a little bit for this upcoming series with the Cubs. And remember, they don't have another scheduled off day until September 2nd. Maybe trying to preserve some of those arms, especially since they used their bullpen quite a bit the first 2 games of this series against the Reds. But it was met with confusion and head scratching there. If it works, we're not talking about it. But it didn't. So now they got to live with it on that one. But part of it is, too, if Terang maybe makes that play, maybe they get out of it, and maybe they extend their winning streak. But the grit, the fight, the no quit of this team You love to see it. And you darn well know now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the score is. If the Brewers are down by a few runs at any point, this is the team that doesn't give a rip. They don't care. They're still going to battle. It might be another Yelich night where he hits a couple home runs. It might be Andrew Monasterio hitting a home run. It might be Sal Frelick. It might be, Terang, Ortiz, whoever it may be. But to have this no fight, this no quit, I know it's kind of a corny phrase in sports. Never quit, never give up. It's not over till the fat lady sings. Those phrases that we have grown accustomed to. The Brewers are a living proof of that with the philosophy they have with this team, with this mindset that they have. I mean, for crying out loud, too, you look at the lineup yesterday. Kind of similar to last Sunday when they had the walk-off home run. But you look at the lineup from yesterday. Because remember, they began this series, too. No Isaac Collins. Paternity leave. You had Blake Perkins for a hot minute, missing some time, but he was back yesterday. But you start off with Monasterio getting the start. You looked at that lineup yesterday, especially, Monasterio and Durbin as your top two hitters. Contreras getting the DH spot. Yelich starting in left. Vaughn, then Perkins, then Jansen, Ortiz, Lockridge. All right, you're sitting Terang. You don't have a Frelick. Terang did come in at the end there. But it's like, oh, okay. Didn't not your A squad, obviously. But credit to Jose Quintana, 6 1/3, just giving up 1 earned run. Myers for pitching very well. But man, I know they didn't sweep this past weekend. Still super impressed with this team, and I feel like and I know I keep saying this, we are running out of things or ways to describe this team or to talk about this team. But I think you look back at this weekend with this Red Series and see how they won it. Again, no Collins in this series. But to see these other guys and to see how they won it come from behind victories. They're going to be able to utilize that experience and use that experience going forward. They've won in another way. We talked about how this team has won in different ways throughout this entire year. Add another one from this weekend. That's what impresses me the most from this past weekend. Is these come from behind victories, and even yesterday, coming from behind, putting pressure on their opponents to make plays. You had the error the other day that helped extend the game, Saturday night's game. And we've seen this time and time again from this Brewers team, putting pressure on their opponents to make plays. They're kind of, again, this Brewers team is kind of that annoying gnats or mosquito flying around that just won't go away. No matter how many times you swat at it or brush it away from your face, they just keep coming back. They keep coming back, and they keep biting at you, and they force you, and they just kind of wear you down a little bit. And I hope this is something that can continue not only for the rest of this regular season, but into the postseason. And to see these guys like an Andrew Monasterio or others getting some big-time moments and making some big-time plays, just maybe that'll benefit this team going forward for the rest of the regular season and into the postseason. And now we've got this huge series, final regular season series against the Cubbies starting today with a doubleheader. You get Freddie Peralta on the mound. We know the experience the Cubs have with Freddie Peralta. We know it. Freddie's familiar with them. Cubs are familiar with Freddie. All right. You look at it from a career sense. Michael Busch, 13 career bats, does have a couple home runs against Freddie. Just a 154 average, but a 968 OPS. Ian Happ's got 32 career bats against him. He struggled. 063. 063 average, 367 OPS. Horner's 192 in 26 career bats. Suzuki, 21 career bats, 095. Swanson, 20 career bats, 100. But, so I mean, Peralta's had success against those guys. On the other hand, Tucker in 8 career at bats, 625. Pete Armstrong, 9 career at bats, 556 with a 1.556 OPS. And I know Pete Armstrong has been kind of struggling here as of late. Not a bad weekend series, though, against Pirates, collecting 5 hits in 3 games. Actually, just had 1 at-bats on Saturday's game, but Friday night's game, collected 3 hits. Yesterday was 2 for 4, so maybe kind of turned the corner here a little bit for him. Brewers are going to be going up against Cade Horton, who this year in 16 games is 7-3. He has started 15 of those games. And you look at what he has done so far in the month of August, and he's been pretty darn good. 3-0 with a .55 ERA. Heck, expand it to July. In 4 games started, 1-1, but a 1.52 ERA. Has not gone up against the Brewers, so a little bit of an unfamiliar territory here for the Brewers. So can they get after Cade Horton? Can they get after him, who has been pitching incredibly well in the last couple months if we go back to July? Very well. Dude's been almost lights out, really. I mean, when you look at a 1.152 ERA, or excuse me, 1.52 ERA in the month of July and a .55 ERA in the month of August so far, yeah, dude's been pitching very well. Sure, you could say, well, look at the teams he's gone up against, the Reds and Baltimore and the White Sox and the Twins and that. I don't care. Dude's still been pitching very good or very well. Got to give him credit. So can this Brewers offense go in there and maybe wear him down a little bit? Put up a big number against him? Give Freddie Peralta a lead? Help him out a little bit with the run support. Because Peralta is going to go in there and in typical Freddie fashion, probably going to get the pitch count up there, right? We know he's going to get that pitch count up there. But can you give him an early lead? And give Freddie credit. In his first 2 games in August, dude has been pitching really well too. .82 ERA and 2 wins, Atlanta and Pittsburgh. If he could have a similar game to what he had against Pittsburgh on his last start against the 12th, where you get 6 innings and his pitch count's at 89, you get something similar to that, only 3 hits and no earned runs and 7 strikeouts and 1 walk, I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week going up against the Cubs. Freddie, his last start against the Cubs back on July 30th. It was a loss. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs in that contest. So, I mean, you look at the last outing, Cubs had their way. Then you go back to June. Freddie picked up the win against the Cubbies. 5 innings, 3 earned runs, did give up a couple earned runs. May 4th, picked up the win against the Cubbies, went 6 innings, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts. So Freddie has gone up against the Cubs 3 times already this year. Picked up 2 wins, but really, you look at those 3 games that he's gone up against the Cubs and kind of a little bit different results each time, it feels like. He had that He had that May 4th game where he was spectacular, right? Then June 19th, yeah, he got the win. 5 innings. Okay. 3 earned runs. Had some offensive support, obviously. And then July 30th, 5 earned runs just in 4 innings. Not a great outing. So good, maybe average, poor. Maybe he's due for a really good one against the Cubbies here today. Maybe. Hopefully, right? That's what we're hoping. But it's going to be hard going up against Cade, who's been pitching incredibly well for the Cubbies too. So we'll see how it flows. That's the first game on the docket for today. And then we got tonight. I know both, if you go to brewers.com and you go to the mothership and such, says a little TBD, TBD here. I'm sure we're going to see some moves, some roster moves today for maybe some fresher arms and some pitchers and such. And probably even maybe Isaac Collins getting back in the lineup today. So you're probably going to see some changes for that game. But also remember too, you can add another arm to it because it is a doubleheader and such. But I think the biggest thing to come out of Game 1 today, outside of the win, you're hoping that maybe you're not using that bullpen too much. You're hoping. I mean, I think if the Brewers can somehow at least get 6 innings, I shouldn't say somehow, because it's not that insurmountable. If you could get 6 innings, at least 6 innings from Freddie Peralta, that should be the minimum. You're hoping that, and honestly, it might be a little bit of a tough task or a tough ask from Freddie Peralta, but I'm hoping at least 6 from Freddie today. You got to be able to have a solid outing from him and not get that pitch count up early to where they have to go to the pen early. I want at least 6 from Peralta tonight or this afternoon. Let's start off the series on a high note. Let's get this W right away. Okay. You got a struggling Cubs team. Yes, they're coming off a series win against the Pirates, but man, if you can win this series against the Cubs and just, whack-a-mole them down a little bit more in that standings and maybe take away a little bit of their lifeblood. The thing is, don't give them any air. This whole series, don't give them any more life. Don't extend their life. Don't give them any confidence. Don't let them come in here. I shouldn't say it because they were going over there. Don't let them win at least like 3 games or 4 games and let them start to gain a little bit of confidence and such. Take that confidence away from them. Grab the snake by the head and just like, no, not today. Pound them down a little bit more in the series. Take away that belief. Take away some of that confidence from them. Let them get in their own heads and let them limp to the finish line of the regular season. Show why you are the best team in Major League Baseball. Take them down. Show the world that doesn't maybe believe you right now. Show the world that you are the best in Major League Baseball. Prove it with this series against the Cubbies. Take the wind out of, or take the air out of them a little bit. Suffocate them. Get it done. And it starts today with that doubleheader. Boy, this feels like a big-time playoff series, rival series. How do you not get excited? How do you not get jacked up for this thing? Boy, if you don't have a pulse, man. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes to finish up the first hour after these quick words. Hy-Vee in Eau Claire makes grocery shopping simple. You'll find fresh produce, quality meats, full-service deli, and a bakery with something for everyone. There's a wide selection of everyday essentials and plenty of ready-to-eat options when you're short on time. And if you're planning a special meal or you just want to unwind, their wine and spirits department has a great variety from local craft beers to fine wines and top-shelf liquors, including grabbing yourself a six-pack of the amazing Man Cave Light over there. It's everything you need in one stop, whether you're planning a big meal, maybe grabbing yourself some Dan Good burgers, or just picking up a few things. See the difference today by shopping at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. All right, coming up in about, well, past the top of the hour, we'll switch gears and go over to a little green and gold chats with the second preseason game in the books. Got some injuries and such to dive into, but we'll chat a little football coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Starting in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll welcome aboard Mr. Justice Cleveland, Sports Scene 13 sports director for WEAU 13 News. He'll hop on and hang out with us for a bit. Been talking some Brewers here in the first hour of this program this morning, after the Brewers taking 2 out of 3 against the Reds this past weekend, setting a franchise record, 14 wins in a row, dramatic weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds. Still, best record in Major League Baseball. We're approaching now the end of August, and we're still the best record. Brewers are still the best record in Major League Baseball by 6 full games over the Toronto Blue Jays. Brewers sitting there at 78-45. Toronto 73-52. Then you got the Tigers 73-53. Dodgers 71-53. You're talking about the Brewers 7.5 games ahead of the Dodgers right now in the National League for best record in the National League. Brewers improving their road record to 36-25, improving their record against teams with over a 500 record too. Brewers 37-20, 17 games above 500. That's their record against teams who have a 500 or better record. The only other teams right now with a record that has a winning record against teams who are 500 and better, the Blue Jays, 34-29. 5 games above 500. Tigers are right at 500, 27-27. The Dodgers, 29-28, 1 game above 500. The Phillies, 26-25, 1 game above 500. The Cubs, 31-32, under 500. Houston, 34-24, 10 games above 500. Padres, they're under 500. They're 24-31 against teams with a 500 or better record. You've got Seattle, 29-27. The Yankees, 32-32. The Mets are 2 games under 500. Reds, right at 500, 29-29. This is how, so again, this is just how, I'm going to use the word dominant the Brewers have been. They haven't just been beaten up on, a bunch of games against the Rockies or the Nationals or the White Sox. They've been beating some very good teams here too, and they have a chance to do that again, going up against the Cubbies starting today. So just a quick reminder, because if you're looking at an old schedule, you're like, doubleheader, my schedule shows just 1 game. Remember, it's a makeup game. So first game for today for the Brewers and Cubs, it's going to be at 1:20. All right, 1:20, and then 7:05 for game 2. So what's the weather supposed to be like at Wrigley Field? Let me just kind of double check it here, because I know our weather's kind of weird here. Wrigley Field. Oh, cool. What? They're talking about potential rain today? Yeah, that'll be awesome. Oh, wait. 7. Yeah. Right? Okay. Participation. Oh, that I don't like that website. We all have our, like, go-to weather ones, right? 7 a.m., mostly cloudy. Okay, intermediate clouds. Mostly cloudy with T-storms at 10 o'clock. Oh, boy. Um, what's the percent? 51% chance or 40% chance? Okay, so it goes down a little bit, but you're okay, 34% chance of rain at 1 p.m. So, okay, then it goes up to about a 50% chance at 5 p.m., but then tonight it drops down. So, all right, hit or miss. Hit or miss. What's the wind though, right? That's the main thing at Wrigley. What's the wind? Ooh, wind gusts later tonight potentially. All right. Could be try to keep the ball. Oh, you're talking about double digit wins potentially throughout the day, about in the teens there. So, all right. Maybe something to kind of keep an eye on a little bit there. So, let's catch up on a couple texts as we wrap up this first hour about the Brewers. We've got Chris with a quick text saying, boy, oh boy, what else can we say about this Brewers team? What a crazy weekend series against the Reds. All the come from behind victories and nearly the come from behind victory yesterday. This is easily the most fun I've watched a Brewers team in my lifetime, and I've been watching the Brewers since the 80s. We've got Aaron with the quick text. Loved how this Brewers team battled from behind in all of their games against the Reds this weekend. I know they lost yesterday, but there's a lot more positives we could take away from this series against the Reds because of how they fought back in each one of these games, including not having Isaac Collins in their lineup. We've got Travis with a quick text. Speaking of Isaac Collins, what does it say about the rise of Isaac Collins this year to say that he's a key figure in the fact that we missed him this weekend, although they still took 2 out of 3 without him in the lineup, just shows the depth of this team going forward. And then another texter a little bit earlier. This was from Ryan. Just another fantastic weekend for the Brewers, another entertaining weekend as a fan to watch the Brewers. I absolutely love this team. I just hope that they can continue down this path and make it a long October series. C-Bomb, really quick here, says, fun series this weekend. What a run. Let's start another. So much fun to watch these guys. That boot by Terang had me for the first time wishing Ortiz was never out of the lineup. Yeah, right? Maybe we take it for granted sometimes just how amazing of a defensive shortstop Joey Ortiz is. And you could say, yeah, Terang coming in a little cold in that, but yeah. And there's nobody else in the world that feels worse about that than Bryce Terang right now. Nobody else. It's a lonely place. I think the camera even caught him sitting on the bench after the game yesterday. We've all kind of been there, that lonely stare into space. It's eating at you. It's in your head. But I love, again, that write-up from MLB.com when they did their power rankings, talking about the Brewers. It's the perfect write-up to sum up this Brewers team. They still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games, and they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row next month now anyway. It's giving me vibes of like the 2015 Badger men's basketball team. What was their slogan? What was their mantra then? Make them believe. Brewers are making people believe. They don't want to believe in a team like the Brewers. They don't want to believe in the players like the Brewers have. But if you want to make people believe in you, you just keep stacking W's. And that's what this team is doing. They are making everybody believe in them. Love it. Love it. Let's just keep this thing going, man. All right, coming up next hour, shot clock's going to cut me off here in less than a minute. We'll switch gears here and chat a little green and gold Packers. Speaking of comebacks, had to use a comeback in the second half to pick up a win against the Colts for preseason game number 2, but Again, another game full of laundry, full of flags. Anthony Belton has a game to forget for the second round pick from this year's draft. Whew. And then injuries. Marshawn Lloyd, another hamstring injury, and he could be out for a while, according to some reports out there. Yeesh. Final preseason game coming up this weekend. Maybe just sit everybody for this one and call it good to make sure people are healthy. Holy moly. All right. Plenty more Brewers talk. Brewers fans, I still want to hear from you. Hit me up with those texts. All right. 715-830-1912. Don't forget, it is I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Fill in the blanks to send those on over to me. News updates coming up next. Already the second hour on this Monday morning. If you're just waking up and tuning in and joining us, where have you been? Spent the first hour talking Brewers. Winning streak ends, but they did get 14, setting a franchise record. They almost extended it to 15 yesterday. But nonetheless, another series win for the Crew. 13 consecutive series wins against the Reds alone. Yeah, buddy. That's pretty darn impressive. So But we'll get back to some more Brewers talk. Don't worry. And I still want to hear from you. Hit me up with a text 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line this morning. Hit me up with those texts. All right, Brewers fans, want to hear from you. So we'll get back to that. We've got Justice Cleveland, Sports Scene 13, WEAU 13 News. Sports Director will be joining us next hour. We got high school football season starting up this week as well, later on this week. First games, that counts. Man, we're already there too, believe it or not. But we'll talk a little bit about that and definitely talk some Brewers with him and whatever else is on our mind with Mr. JC and EC. It is Monday morning, so it is I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. Fill in the blanks, all right? Best ones I'll read on the air. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank, okay? You got plenty of topics to choose from, whether it's the Brewers or the Packers, as we are entering the final preseason week. Game 3 coming up this weekend. And boy, now it's kind of like, hey, now, how many healthy dudes are we going to have for this third and final preseason game? How many? Because yesterday on Saturday's game, had some dudes leaving the game and don't know when they're going to be back. Probably most notably Marshawn Lloyd. You just feel bad for this guy now. I mean, Ben Simmons, his position coach, was even asked about it. They did some coordinators and position coach media sessions. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And from our good friend Rob Domofsky, said that he tweeted this out. Packers running backs coach Ben Simmons, when asked whether he's ever seen anyone have the kind of bad injury luck Marshawn Lloyd has had, he said, I have not. I don't think any of us, or very few of us, have. The way he works, you got to believe he'll get past this. But another hamstring issue for Marshawn Lloyd. Look, the thing is like when he played in that game Saturday, you saw some of the things that he's able to do when he's out on the field. You could get a glimpse, even like during practice. There was a reporter saying he was like making people's jaws drop with his elusiveness and his talent. And you saw a little bit of that in the game Saturday if you're watching it. But for crying out loud, the guy just can't stay healthy, and you feel bad for him. And I don't know if they can figure this out. I mean, how many times have we talked with Dr. Crow, the guy who is a professional in all this? So I don't want to say injury prone or bad training staff or anything like that. We've talked to the professionals who do this for a living. And sometimes it's just bad luck. And you look at Marshawn Lloyd with this, and you just feel bad for this second-year guy. But it opens the door for other guys now on this team, whether it's Amar Johnson, Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks, because it sure seems like now Marshawn Lloyd's probably, if I were to wager a guess, is going to open up the season on the injured reserve and miss the first 4 games. If Marshawn Lloyd was healthy, there's probably only one spot left in that running back department, but it opened up jobs. And he wasn't the only injury. Omar Brown, who had the fantastic family night, suffered a scary injury. He actually had to stay at the hospital 2 nights. 2 nights. Dealing with what was initially called a chest contusion, but having an issue with his lungs. So, I mean, that's a scary situation. Pretty significant injury. So, and then Baron Sorrell, suffering a knee injury, another rookie. He had been showing some flashes in camp. Don't know how serious it is, but LaFleur saying he'll be missing some time. So does that mean he potentially could start the season on the injured reserve as well? Does that open up a job on that defensive line that we know is a position group that this team is counting on a lot for improved play from last year? Well, one of those guys that maybe they were counting on to help improve that line, might be missing the first part of the season. I guess on one hand, some positive stuff. Jordan Love might even return to practice as soon as today. If you were watching a little bit of that game on Saturday, maybe you saw some glimpses of him throwing some passes on the field. Transition from having a cast on his hand to just a brace on that non-throwing hand, but there is a potential that he could practice this week. Matt LaFleur saying we're going to alter some things to allow him to get involved, do my favorite 7-on-7 that I absolutely despise, but in some instances it's good. So I'd rather have him do that than just throw on air. So we'll incorporate some 7-on-7 into practice. But you even look at the wide receivers, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Matt LaFleur saying he sure hopes so that they'll be ready week 1. Savion Williams is also dealing with an injury. Romeo Dobbs had a back injury, but LaFleur at least saying no long-term issue there. It's a banged-up team right now when you factor in Xavier McKinney in here too and Nate Hobbs earlier. Man, maybe for this final preseason game against Seattle, just not play anybody or just play a full game of, sorry to say it, but bottom roster guys, bottom of the end roster, depth chart guys at this point. So injuries, obviously a big concern, but, and again, y'all know me. If you've been listening for a long time, I'm not one to, I think I usually keep a level head. I don't tend to overreact to a lot of things. I don't tend to get all animated, instant reaction, hot take sort of thing. But I think we got to be looking at what the heck is going on with all the laundry on the field. And I'm talking about the flags. The flags, the amount of flags that this team has been getting thrown on them in the first 2 preseason games. It was another week, first week, okay, first preseason game, maybe you could kind of say, meh. But then in the first half of that Colts game, Anthony Belton, I have to forget for the rookie second-round pick. 5 first-half penalties alone from him. 5, including back-to-back illegal formation. Packers had 11 penalties for 85 yards in the first half. Second half, they only committed 1 penalty. All right, cool. They erased a 13-0 deficit and had the comeback win. Anthony Belton did not draw another flag. Actually played very well in the second half. But we still can't ignore what happened in the first half, right? We can't ignore that. And it was a little bit of everything from Anthony Belton. The illegal formations, the false starts, unnecessary roughness, and a face mask. It was a little bit of everything from Anthony Belton. Heading into the locker room at halftime, if you were watching it, you saw Matt LaFleur tearing into his rookie. Rightfully so. But they got it. And I know the officials apparently, in every preseason, officials come to teams' training camps and such. Work with the team. They've got officials there, but we're talking NFL officials. NFL officials always go visit teams and such, and the NFL officials are visiting Green Bay this week, part of their joint practices with Seattle. Now, Matt LaFleur said it's later than usual, later than he would like. I don't know if that's the excuse. I kind of don't buy it as the excuse. You kind of look at a lot of these infractions and these penalties, and you look at they're coming from the younger guys. Maybe there's a little bit of that. But at the same point in time, how do you have back-to-back illegal formation penalties where you're lining up? It's from the offensive linemen and where they're lining up. How do you have that? How does that happen? You know what I mean? That's unacceptable. And again, it was another game where positive plays, were being negated, taken away because of stupid, unnecessary mental penalties. Ridiculous and unacceptable. And it falls straight on, yes, it's the players, but then you got to look at coaching. What's going on? You got to do a better job preparing these guys, preparing and teaching these guys. Ultimately, a coach can't go out there and hold the player's hand on the field and guide him and tell him, okay, got to line up this way. You know, it's not like when I'm coaching my third graders in flag football where I could be on the field with them and line them up correctly. Can't do that, obviously. And it's up to the players to be accountable for themselves. But when it's something like this, you gotta look at, you know, Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach, and Adam Stenovich, the offensive coordinator, and Matt LaFleur, and be like, okay, why are these guys getting it? Got to clean this thing up, because if this goes into the regular season, for crying out loud, that is unacceptable. That's ridiculous. But heading into the final week, final preseason of this Packers season, it's a big game 3 coming up. And now with some of these injuries, jobs are a little bit more open. Who do you think is trending in a direction now? How do I want to phrase this? Because there were some solid performances from game 2. I don't want to paint a picture of like it was all bad. But I think there was a couple of players here that had themselves a decent week or a couple days in Indy in that game. Then it's really setting up, I think, for some interesting decisions coming up for this final roster. And I want to go over that. But first, let's take a quick break. Before that, if you haven't had a chance to vote, I posted this up last night, but I'm going to let it run for this day because I want some more votes on this thing, all right? Go to our Sports Talk Facebook page, follow, like it. Now, there was a report yesterday that the Bengals are now listening to trade offers for Trey Hendrickson. A few days ago, there was that rumor out there. I don't know how real it was, but there was a rumor out there that the Packers had a legitimate offer on the table for Micah Parsons. So let's have a little fun with this. All right. The poll question we have on our Facebook page, with the latest rumors swirling out there, what would you like to see happen for the Packers? What you would like to see happen, not what you think is going to happen, because I can tell you right now, what I think is going to happen, they're not going to get either one of those guys. But what would you like to see happen for the Packers? Trade for Trey Hendrickson, trade for Micah Parsons, keep what they got, which means Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness. Right now, the results are 49% trade for Micah Parsons. Now remember, for both Parsons and Hendrickson, you're going to have to give them monster deals. Huge contracts. All right? A huge contract. Big time contract. Got to factor that into it. But 49% say Micah Parsons, 26% say Trey Hendrickson, 25% say keep what they got. That's where the voting's at right now. If you didn't vote, go vote. If you did vote, tell me why you voted for that particular, whatever one you voted for. Why? And I'm kind of curious on all of them. For those of you who said keep what they got, I'd be curious to hear your reason. Maybe it's just strictly like, hey, money. But again, this is why I'm saying I phrased it, what do you want to see happen? Maybe it's because, hey, I don't want to spend a lot of that money on those guys and maybe trade multiple first-round picks. I don't want. Valid. Fair. Get it. And then for those who picked Parsons, why Parsons over Hendrickson? Maybe it's an age thing. And for those who picked Hendrickson, why Hendrickson over Parsons? Maybe it's look at the consistency the last couple of years from him. There's a bunch of different reasons. I'm just genuinely curious how you vote or how you would vote if you didn't vote yet. So shoot me a text on that. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll have some more green and gold chat, though. I want to hear from you. All right. Light up that texting line. We'll be back in just a few minutes. When my vehicle needs work, there's only one place I trust, and that's AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. From oil changes and brake jobs to engine repairs and diagnostics, the team at AJM Automotive does it all, including small engine work too. So if you got an issue, maybe with the lawnmowers and such, like we did, they can help you out there too. They're honest up front, treat you like a neighbor, not just another ticket. So if you want dependable work at a fair price, take it to AJM Automotive, located 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. Going to give them a call at 715-835-9523. Keep that number in your cell phone too, because you know what else they do? They offer towing services. That's right. They offer towing services. So I know that's not a situation that we want to think about or we ever want to be in, but sometimes it happens. And it's better to have that number on hand for you just in case. Better to be safe, right? Better be safe than sorry. So again, that number, 715-835-9523. You can also give that number a call to make your appointment today. All right, let's continue a little green and gold chat this morning. So, just in case anybody was wondering, if you are if you're wondering if you follow along with Pro Football Focus grades after games, again, I've used this phrase quite a bit, but I think it's a tool that's in the toolbox. It's not the tool. It's not the tell-all, be-all stat, statistic, analytic number, grade, or anything like that. I think it's part of the tool in the toolbox. Combine it all in there. So if you're kind of curious of what Pro Football Focus ranked some of the Packer players in their preseason game against the Colts, top offensive player was tight end Johnny Lumpkin, then Ben Sims, then Smith, the offensive lineman, Jordan Morgan, then Amar Johnson, the running back. Top 5 defense was Carl Brooks, Oladapo, Hopper, Robinson, and linebacker Johnson. Bottom 5 offense, Anthony Belton, we were just talking about, Marshawn Lloyd, Elgersma, quarterback, Taylor the Canadian football not transfer, you know what I'm talking about. Emmanuel Wilson, then Nair, the wide receiver. Bottom 5 defense, Isaiah Simmons, Omar Brown, James Esther, Alexander, and Kamal Hayden. So we are entering a pivotal week for some of these guys who are on a roster bubble. We are entering a pivotal week for guys who are trying to maybe win a starting job. And this upcoming preseason game, we know it could decide futures for a lot of these players. This final week could decide futures for a lot of these players. And so I want to highlight a few players who I think are really making some interesting cases in terms of maybe winning a starting job, winning a job, and then some players who are really kind of trending downward big time. And they're kind of like, territory. Let's start off with some of the positives. Jordan Morgan is making this left tackle battle kind of interesting here. He put together another solid game, and he has clearly been taking advantage of Walker being out of the lineup. Morgan, again, didn't allow a single pressure over 15 pass blocking snaps. In fact, Pro Football Focus nearly graded him and gave him an elite pass blocking grade. So Jordan Morgan has definitely been taking advantage of Walker not being in that lineup and has really kind of, I think, this is a tough decision now for Green Bay, because if you go at the beginning of training camp, Brian Gutekunst, did acknowledge it was going to be a job, but kind of said it's going to be really hard maybe for Morgan to win the job over Walker because of the experience that Walker has had, starting experience. Well, Walker's been out, and Morgan has stepped in, and Morgan has played fantastic. And now the question's going to be, assuming Walker's going to be ready for week 1, what do the Packers do? You hear Matt LaFleur and them always say the 5 best will play. But here's the decision at hand here. Do you put Morgan in there, and then essentially it'd be Morgan, Banks, Jenkins, Sean Ryan, Zach Tom? That's your starting 5. And then Walker's probably your swing tackle and instantly becomes a very, 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 very good backup tackle or swing tackle. Because chances are you're probably going to have an injury at some point, right? I mean, got to play the odds there. So at least you'd be covered there. Or do they still have Walker as a starter? Morgan is essentially your top backup, and Morgan has experience playing interior at a guard position and at tackle. So you're covered there. Because we know Walker's not going to get any, he's not going to be put in as a guard. And then on the other hand, though, too, is like, let's say if there is an injury to a guard, you could slide Morgan in there, and then Walker comes over and plays the left tackle. That's a decision now Green Bay is going to have to come up with. Essentially, who are your 5 best offensive linemen? And if Morgan right now has taken over or he has jumped into that top 5, is he best suited at left tackle? Is he best suited at guard if Walker's ready to go? But you got to give him a ton of credit. This is what you want to see from this guy. Yes, he's a first-round pick. This is probably what a lot of people expected. But you want to see these guys with a chance, with an opportunity to make a case for a starting job. Jordan Morgan has done exactly that. He has done that. So you got to give him credit. It's going to be interesting to see how this week plays out. And once they kind of set their rosters, we may not even know yet for a couple weeks here. Because even though it's the final preseason game coming up this week, this Saturday, may not know till closer to game time, week 1 against the Lions, who that starting offensive line is going to be. I think, too, you look at the running back position now. With Marshawn Lloyd, let's assume he's going to miss some time, like Matt LaFleur said. Let's assume that he's going to start the season in injured reserve and miss the first few games of the season. One, that sucks. Okay, it sucks. It stinks. Because when he has been out there and when he has shown, flashed some of his abilities, he's looked pretty darn good. Right? He has looked pretty darn good. And it just, you hate to see it from a player, but you also hate to see it from a talent perspective because now it's like, okay, you lose your top backup running back. So now it opens up a job for somebody else. Initially, it looked like it was Jacobs, Lloyd, and then it was going to be a battle for that third spot. Was it going to be Emmanuel Wilson? Was it going to be Chris Brooks? Was it going to be somebody else? Well, that somebody else now might be Amar Johnson. Running back Amar Johnson. He had some tough runs in that game against the Colts. It was a solid showing for the youngster. And now I think he has put himself probably between Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks, is probably between those 3. I'm going to say between those 3 for those 2 spots in that running back department. Emmanuel Wilson, they know what they've got. A little bit, he'd had that big catch in the game against the Colts, but he also had a fumble. They like Chris Brooks a lot because of the versatility he brings. They're familiar with those 2. Maybe that plays to their advantage of making the roster, and maybe a guy like Amar Johnson sticks around on the practice squad. It could be something as simple as that. But his stock is up. Amar Johnson's is. His stock is pointing upward. But you look at that running back depth chart now with no Marshawn Lloyd, it might be very similar to last year now. With Josh Jacobs, going to be your bell cow, and then Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson sprinkled in here or there. But I think this is going to be a big week and potentially a big game on Saturday against Seattle for a guy like Johnson. I want to talk about a couple of defensive players now who are, I think, they're really showing something in these first couple weeks of preseason and training camp, and just kind of I think their stock is gone up here a little bit. I'm gonna go with Hopper, the second-year linebacker. Tyron Hopper, second-year linebacker, third-round pick from last year. He has put together a couple of back-to-back preseason games now where he has flashed. And I believe 2 weeks in a row now, again, if we use the Pro Football Focus grades, top 5 grades back-to-back weeks. And if you go back to last year, we didn't see him a ton. We saw him a little bit on special teams, but not really on defense, right? We didn't see him a lot. But yeah, I just double-checked it. He had the second best defensive grade in week 1 against the Jets and fourth now in this Colts one. But he has flashed both in run support and in the passing game. He has flashed that speed. He has flashed his ability to diagnose running plays and stopping the run. Kind of, when you look at the linebacker depth chart, it's McDuffie, it's Walker, it's Cooper, and then even Isaiah Simmons, who I'm going to get to here in just a minute. And then it was Hopper. It's like, okay, he's probably going to be the odd man out, maybe cut gone. Because then you got Welch. Welch, who I think they really like. He's kind of their special teams guy, though. So it kind of felt like maybe Hopper was going to be, released. Third-round pick last year, going to be cut this year. Pump the brakes on that because he has put together 2 games now, back-to-back, looked good, looked solid, looked comfortable out there playing. And I think he has put himself in a position to win a job right now. Cole Brooks had a good game against the Colts this past week. And again, when we talk about Sorrell, the rookie defensive lineman who's going to be missing some time, according to Matt LaFleur, because of a knee injury, we look at that defensive line group. We know the starters. After that, it's up in the air in terms of depth. Who's going to make the squad and such? Sorrell was probably going to be a lock on there because of his pick. Stackhouse, I think, is going to be a lock on there as an undrafted rookie free agent. So you're talking about 6 there. You got Kobe Wooden. You got a Carl Brooks. You throw in there. Brinson, another rookie. Carl Brooks, with his performance and so far what we've seen, I think he has earned himself probably a spot on this team right now too. And especially when you factor in Baron Sorrell's injury, I guess I don't want to say lock right now, but I would say he's pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable. Another player, defensive player that I want to say that I think has put together a couple of solid games back to back is Oladapo, the safety, second-year safety. He's been getting a ton of playing time in this preseason. Zane Anderson injury, I think, again, we'll see how long he's going to be out and such. But Oladapo, when you look at that safety department, it's Xavier McKinney, it's Evan Williams, Javon Bullard's the nickel, the slot guy, but also a backup safety. They like Zane Anderson a lot. But Oladapo, I think, is playing himself right now in a position where he can win a job. He can win a spot on this team, especially, too, with Omar Brown's injury. Omar Brown came into the preseason after that family night. Stock was cruising high, sky high, red hot. Oladapo, didn't hear a whole lot from him. With Zane Anderson's injury, now with Omar Brown's injury, Oladapo has put himself in a position that I think he could potentially get a job now on this team. And he's played well. It's not just by default. Well, we're laying out a couple guys, so yeah, he's going to make it. He's played well. And in this game against the Colts, he broke up a pass, didn't have a missed tackle, didn't give up a catch over 39 snaps. Playing well in the back end. And he's a little bit of a bigger safety, too, that you could play in the box. Help out and run support. That's when he was drafted last year. He was more of that box safety. But the fact that he's proven or shown some improvement in the pass defense, that's going to bode well for him as well. Now, some players who I think that they came into preseason, they came into training camp with some intrigue, with some, all right, maybe some positive PR, if you will, or, I don't want to, maybe PR isn't the right way to say it, but, kind of came in like, oh, this could be a sneaky good pick. Isaiah Simmons' stock has just plummeted. And I'm one of those that I was intrigued with the former first-round pick coming in. They were saying the right things. Hey, you're going to focus strictly on linebacker, man. We're not going to have you do what like the Cardinals and the Giants tried to do, where you're going to be linebacker, safety hybrid. You're going to focus straight on the linebacker. It's like, all right, cool. It hasn't been working out right now. You look at his game, his 2 preseason games, and boy, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. You look at his game against the Jets, and he just looked a little bit out of place at times. Missed a couple tackles. I mean, he's got this athleticism. He's kind of like a Hopper. He's got the athleticism. He's got the speed. Body size between those two are very similar. Hopper was a little light in a lot for a linebacker too. Very similar. But it's Hopper that's outplaying him right now, for crying out loud. But you go to, first off, that Jets game, Simmons was not great in coverage. Not great in coverage. Missed a couple tackles. In fact, in that Jets game, he was charged with giving up 5 catches for 76 yards. Now, go back to the Colts game where Simmons, now if you want to use the Pro Football Focus grades, Simmons had the second worst defensive grade in the Jets game. Simmons has had the worst defensive grade from the Colts game. Missed another tackle and gave up 5 catches for 52 yards. Combine that math between these 2 preseason games. Simmons, 7 catches. Giving up 7 catches. Is it 7 catches? I feel like it should be more than that. Let me go. So 5. Oh no, excuse me. Yeah, 5 catches for 76 yards in his first game. And then 5 catches, so 10 catches, 52 yards in coverage against the Colts, and 76 yards against the Jets. You're talking over 120 yards receiving he's given up. He is not right now. If they were making a 53-man roster, Isaiah Simmons doesn't make it. How I don't know how you can give him a spot over a guy like Hopper. You look at those 2 guys. Hopper has outplayed Isaiah Simmons. I get it. The intrigue of adding a former first-round pick is there. Still young in his career. The athleticism is there. But right now, you're making your 53-man. Hopper's outplayed him. And you keep Hopper over Simmons. You cannot have Simmons out on that field and being essentially a liability in pass defense because he's given up so much and he's been missing tackles. Hopper has been doing the exact opposite of that. Maybe Isaiah Simmons fits more on a special or on a practice squad. I would have no problem with him being back on the team in terms of a practice squad role. But right now, his stock's plummeting. And given what we have seen the first 2 preseason games, I don't think he can do anything on Saturday that would win him a job. I really don't. Because I don't think you could ignore what has happened the first 2 games and just say, oh, he had a great third game. Yep, let's give it him over Tyron Hopper. I don't. Unless there's an injury. Knock on wood that there's no more injuries in this thing. But Isaiah Simmons has probably been one of the most, if not the most, disappointing players so far that we have seen in training camp. So, all right, before we take a quick break, I asked for your picks on that vote, on that poll question, that post glass and mirror 715 speaks poll question. Surveyor Sam says, keep what they got because we heard that Cincinnati wants 1 to 2 impact players and a high draft pick for a 30-year-old man that might be already on a downhill. I can only imagine that Dallas wants more. And then we are required to give out a record deal to these guys when we already are in salary cap hell in a couple of years. Stick with what you got. Believe that Goody knows what he's doing. And LVN takes that step that we need him to. All right. We'll be back. Got to take a quick break. And we'll finish up the second hour. Send me your green and gold and your Brew Crew thoughts. Text it to us, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. We'll be back in just a few minutes to wrap up the second hour. When it comes to fresh, quality meats, my first stop is always Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Brats, snack sticks, steaks. You can taste the difference in every bite. Was just there Friday night, loading up before storms were rolling in. Got some snack sticks, some beef strips, chicken nuggets for the kiddo because those are his favorite chicken nuggets over there too. And don't forget with deer season coming up, remember Mike's when you take in your venison to get your venison processing done. They do it the best because you know your hard-earned harvest will taste its best when you take it over to Mike Star Market. Great cuts, great service, and hometown pride. That's Mike Star Market. Stop on in today and see why locals have trusted them for years. Yeah, deer season. Don't forget, antlerless tags go on sale this week. So set your alarm. Just don't take mine away. All right. Wait in line for me first before I get mine. Just throwing that out there. But they do go on sale this week. That's when it kind of starts to hit. By the way, if you missed Saturday morning's episode of Tailgate Outdoors, where we chatted it up with Tim Kaiser from Whitetail Partners, where he answered some of your questions and gave us some tips to what to do during the month of August to help you for the upcoming bow season. It is now available in podcast form. You can look up Tailgate Outdoors wherever you get your podcasts. And it's also available with the Man Cave podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee. So follow, subscribe, 5-star rating, positive review. That way it helps the algorithms out there. Spread the word, the good word of the Man Cave podcast. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire for WEAU 13 News. High school football season officially begins this week. Games start this week. So we'll do a little local sports roundup with him to help preview that a little bit here. Plenty more to get back to when it comes to the Brewers. A big series begins today with a doubleheader against the Cubbies. Brewers with another series win over the Reds this past weekend. Dramatic series win. Come from behind victories. Nearly did it again yesterday. But now begins this 5 games in 4 day stretch against the Cubbies. The final time the Brewers will be going up against the Cubs this regular season. So we'll get back to that. Brewers fans, I want to hear from you, though. All right. Chime in. Hit me up. 715-830-1912 with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Okay. If you want to continue to send me your thoughts on the green and gold as we enter the final preseason week, you can do so there too. And don't forget to vote in the Post Glass and Mirror 715 Speaks poll question that we put up last night. With the rumors swirling about, we asked, what would you like to see happen for the Packers? You personally, not what you think is going to happen. Because I think, majority would probably say nothing's going to happen. But what do you think would happen? Trade for Trey Hendrickson? What would you like? Or no, let me rephrase it. Back up. What would you like to happen? Not what you think is going to happen. What would you like to happen? Okay. Trade for Trey Hendrickson? Trade for Micah Parsons? Or keep what you got? Right now, 49% going with trade for Micah Parsons. 26% saying trade for Trey Hendrickson. 25% saying keep what they got. Again, asking what you want to see happen, not what you think will happen. Because I think, again, if we ask what do you think will happen, it'll probably be like 90% saying they're going to keep what they got. So, and then tell me why you voted for that. All right, tell me why you voted for that particular option. Tell me why by hit me up with the text and such. Okay, so, all right. Just another quick Packer note here too. The Packers are expected, or I shouldn't say expected, but Matt LaFleur did say yesterday that Jordan Love will, or he's hoping that there's going to be some practice sessions for Jordan Love this week. Hoping maybe even today, Jordan Love returning to practice in some shape or form. Whether it's 7-on-7s, even though Matt LaFleur doesn't like 7-on-7s, but there's going to be some. The expectation sure seems like Jordan Love is going to be practicing at some point this week. So that's the case. If there was any concern from anybody out there about him not being able to go week 1 against the Lions, that should be cut, muted. You're good to go. So, okay, I just saw this. And I know this was just actually a couple of days ago, but I just saw this pop up. Oh boy, what is this? Did you guys see this from Friday? I must have missed it. Big is considered an idea of a massive expansion of the college football playoff that would grow the postseason to 24 or 28 teams, sources told the ESPN. While the idea is in the very early stages, the proposal eliminates conference title games and offers a large number of auto bids for all four power leagues. For example, in the 2018 model, the Big Ten and the SEC would each get 7 auto bids, while the ACC and Big 12 would each receive 5. There would be 2 auto bids for the non-Power 4 conferences and 2 at-large teams. The 28-team format would put 20 playoff games on campus. Wow. Oh, man. The Big Ten commissioner ran the idea by his conference, I guess, on Wednesday, and said that it has begun being shared by others. Ooh, that's going to be a question we're going to have to ask RJ Cardinal tomorrow. A 24 or 28 team college football playoff. Holy moly, people. Think about that. Yeesh, that's a lot. Huh. Hmm. I'm going to make that a poll question later on this week. I'm gonna save that for later on this week. All right, I only got about a minute and a half here. So, coming up again, we're gonna catch up with Justice Cleveland coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. High school football season beginning this week, so we'll catch up with him. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk, as well as the Brewers picking up another series win. We're going to preview this upcoming Cubs series. Take a look at that. Freddie Peralta gets game 1 today. Cubs are very familiar with him. Freddie Peralta's very familiar with the Chicago Cubs. So we'll catch up with Justice here in just a couple minutes because we got some news updates as well. Probably get back to a little green and gold chats. We'll hit that up too. So to answer your question on the video stream, James, Cheerio, don't expect him to be with the Cubs. He hasn't even done a rehab assignment at this point yet, too. So, but it sounds like the latest that Cheerios maybe going to do a rehab assignment towards the end of the month and such. So, I mean, he hasn't even done that yet, so don't expect him to play in this Cubs series. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut me off here in a few seconds. We'll get to JC. He's here, just outside. We're going to let him in, and then we'll chat some more Brewers with him. 2 in, 1 more to go. We'll be back after these quick updates. All right, here we go. The final hour already on this Monday morning, the beginning of a brand new work week here. Big thanks for tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in from. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk as the Brewers get set for a big-time series against the Cubbies. Reminder, it is a doubleheader today. So we got a doubleheader game because it's a makeup game from earlier in the season. So first pitch is going to be at 1:20 for the first game. And then second game is going to be at 7:05. Freddie Peralta is getting the start for game one today. Be interesting to see. Looked at the weather a little bit, hit and miss with some rain, a little bit of wind and such. So we'll see. We'll see which offense maybe has the advantage in that one. But we got our guy JC Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Great to be back.
Yeah, it's well, is it kind of like a new school year for you, as you were saying a little bit off the air, because games actually count now for high school football this week.
It kind of marks the transition to the end of summer. I don't want to say it's the end of summer because we still got a couple weeks before Labor Day here, but
that's right.
Things start to really ramp up this week, and it kind of even making the schedule yesterday. It's like, okay, here we go.
Kind of getting back in that groove of making that schedule.
Summer vacation's over, kids.
Yep.
Time to get back on the field.
Yeah. So I know we had, was it Friday, a bunch of Friday was a bunch of scrimmages and such across the area and the state and such too. So, but you know, I know it's kind of early maybe for some predictions and such because we still don't know how these kind of teams look and such, but maybe some of the usual suspects. I know Brandon was talking a little bit about Friday. Boyceville, probably a lot of high expectations for that team. Regis too, you know, looking at some of those schools. So maybe, because did he say Boyceville's returning like a ton?
Well, Boyceville pretty much returns everybody. Like they're major. I think they lost maybe one offensive lineman. Like they pretty much returned the whole team.
Man.
That's made deep runs the last 2 years. We're just seconds away from, you know, defeating Edgar, who ended up being state champions, and they ended up falling that one. So, and they're a team that, I mean, that's, you know, our preview we had last week. Their whole goal is state title or bust.
Yeah.
This is a team that, you know, knew they took Edgar to the ropes.
Right.
Just couldn't get past them. Now have everybody coming back, that chip on their shoulder. Yeah, that's a team that has eyes on Camp Randall, and they're super talented, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get there.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. I think there's going to be quite a few teams probably in our area that's going to be maybe pushing for some deep postseason runs this year too.
You know, in that first week, you know, we start on Thursdays, the first batch of games. So you have North and Menominee. So Menominee trying to keep that playoff run, insane run that they've had for 30 years going there. Then DC Everest Rice Lake should be a really good team. I think if people remember last season, DC Everest was a team that went in like it's a 6th seed. And, you know,
that's right.
And everybody's like,
because you kept saying, you know,
anybody would see them play, like that team's not a 6th seed. And I mean, Rice Lake, all they do is just make it to state championships, no matter what division that they're in. So a really good test to start out the season. Chippewa Falls and Spash battling each other. I mean, two teams that are perennial playoff teams, and Chuck Rakovich has just been every year. He's a chameleon. He lost a lot of players from last year, but he finds a way to just. He really is good at building to his strength.
Yeah, I was gonna say he like adapts. I feel like every single season or every type of team that he's got.
If he has the passing, he'll do it. But if he needs to go back to that bread and butter run game, he can do that too. But he's been always been good, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time Hall of Famer. That's what he's been doing. And then first game at Memorial's new stadium. It'll be Hudson versus Memorial. It's just a really good test for that old Abe's team that struggled last year out of the gate against a Hudson team that. Again, another perennial powerhouse that they'll face. And then I filling those days out, it's Cadott versus Augusta, two teams trying to get their season started on the right note. Leva Strum made a big run last year to get into the playoffs. They'll take on Glenwood City, and then Marshfield and New Richmond there as well. So a few of those, to name a few. And then Friday, you know, GET Mondovi.
Oh, yeah.
That just an energetic team. They return a lot of players too. So that's a team that I'd keep your eyes on. Regis will start at home against Turtle Lake, so that's a team that you know, Brian Brenner has done such a solid job every year, and the depth they build up on that team, and just the program. And so first test against Turtle Lake, Stanley Boyd, they lost a lot of players, but and have a new coach as well. They'll take on Colby, And then there's that Boyceville game where they take on Indy Gilmanton. So we'll see what they can do out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Big rivalry, kind of rivalry game. I would say it is because it's not a conference rivalry anymore, but it's one that they continue. It usually opens the season. Fall Creek and Altoona.
Oh, yeah.
Two teams that want to get their season started right. Fall Creek and made a run last year, and Altoona's looking to get back into the playoffs. Spooner Elk Mound.
Mm-hmm.
And then Somerset Bloomer with some guy named Tyler Mickelson leading Bloomer over there.
That's right.
Whitehall Colfax, Durand, Arkansas versus Spring Valley, Ladysmith versus Edgar.
Yep.
Edgar, defending state champs there. And then Neilsville, New Lisbon, and then go to 8-player. And there's a bunch of 8-player games. The one I have listed right now is Lincoln versus McDonald. But there's more games. Obviously, these are just some of the games that I've written down on here. But there'll be plenty of the full schedule. But kind of nice for us that it's split up in 2 days. So we'll get a chance to showcase a lot more teams we would if they were all just on Friday.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know, you mentioned for 8-man, it's kind of different this year too, because they all start at the same time.
Right.
Whereas, it's kind of 8-man, I think, started a week earlier or later. Later. Yeah.
It used to be a week later. So
yeah. So now it's all at the same time now too. So, but you got Thorup that's going to be in there. Gilman's probably going to be up there too. New Auburn. Yep. So.
Yeah. So there's plenty of teams that have a chance. And yeah, it's exciting. It really is to get back there. And you really don't know until the games start playing.
Right.
So we'll find out starting on Thursday of what we got in the area.
Right. And I know kind of all the other fall, even though it's summer, but fall sports are underway too. I know tennis is going on for girls. Got girls golf,
volleyball, and soccer, I believe, begins today.
Mm-hmm.
So
cross country. I mean, soccer for boys soccer too. I mean, if you're driving by the schools, you're probably seeing a lot of those kids out there in practice. Even the marching band's getting some work in too.
The activities really kind of ramp up here, starting this week, especially with the start of games and then the start of a lot of practices.
Exactly. And then on the Blue Gold side too, it's just a couple weeks away until, remember, they begin on a Thursday.
Right.
Blue Gold football against Carroll University this year. So that's September 4th.
Things are, and they started practice last week, and team that's, a lot of turnover, but third year for Rob Erickson, just looking to see what they can do. And, a lot of talented players have come into that program from around the area. And I think they're excited. I think they're really excited and chomping at the bit to get on the field there for that first game and then see what they got. Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting, I think, Wyatt conference this year, because if you look at the preseason polls right now, the early polls, there's a lot of Wyatt teams that are getting votes. Like Stout received votes, Oshkosh received votes, La Crosse right now number 11, River Falls 19, Whitewater 24, Platteville 15. So it's going to be another tough schedule, but an opportunity to showcase what they're made of too.
Probably top to bottom, still the best Division III conference.
Yeah,
in football and all sports, in my opinion, is the WIAC, and I think you're going to see it this year with this football, which means there might be a lot of teams beating up on each other.
Right.
I don't know if there's going to be a team that's going to run away with it, just to how stacked this conference is and what we've seen the last few years.
Right.
So, it should be fun once things get started. And, the Blue Goals, they're trying to get back into that mix. And we'll see what they can do and, start with that non-conference schedule and then ramp it up there come October.
Yep. And, I mean, heck, even Blue Gold Volleyball, we got scrimmages coming up this weekend too. And it's going to be cool because I think there's a lot of excitement for that team coming back, a younger team from a couple of years ago, getting a lot of experience the last couple of years.
Yes.
And now they're going to be playing in the Sonnentag too. So that's going to be kind of cool to watch for the volleyball team. But they're going to be coming up here too with some scrimmages coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I think they have the scrimmage on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, and then they start non-conference play and like some tournament plays right away after that. So I know we saw Wisconsin volleyball had an exhibition game against Notre Dame the day after their scrimmage too. So and they got the win there. So I mean, this state has become such a volleyball state, not just because of the Badgers, but because of what UW-Eau Claire has done in the D3 ranks as well. So Kim Woody, she does such a great job with that team. And like you said, there was a lot of youngsters that were getting playing time last year and made a really good run towards the end of last year. So I think they're going to step up and really contend for a conference championship and try to make another NCAA tournament.
Right. Yep. So, all right. So we're just kind of at the beginning stages of some local sports. Definitely we'll have some more as we get closer and closer to everything going on and such. So, tell you what, let's take a quick break and then let's talk some Brewers. I got to talk Brewers with you with this team.
Sounds good.
I mean, I know they didn't sweep this weekend and such, but just kind of another, what do you say about this team from what we watched this past weekend? Just unbelievable. So, all right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk some more Brewers coming up after these quick words. If you're looking for a great spot to relax, grab a bite, and enjoy good company, you have got to check out VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire. It's the kind of place where the food is tasty, the drinks are cold, and the atmosphere feels like home. Whether it's their famous Friday fish fry, a burger night, or just meeting up with friends after work, VFW Post 305 is where neighbors gather and good times happen. So swing by, pull up a chair, and see why the locals keep coming back. VFW Post 305, located on on Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Spit it out, Dan. Jeez. It is Monday. So Brewers, though, holy moly! I know we talked quite a bit about the Brewers, but let's revisit it because we've got our man Justice Cleveland joining us here this morning. I think can this weekend just be described as a typical Brewers type of series? One, yes, they set a franchise record for 14 wins in a row. But you go to Friday night's game down 8-1. No big deal. Yelly will hit a couple home runs and you still win. Saturday, you force extra innings, and then it's Andrew Monasterio who hits a 3-run home run and extras to get the 14 wins in a row. And then even yesterday, they almost did it. Again, not scoring any runs until the ninth when Contreras hits a 2-run shot to take a 2-1 lead. They end up falling in extras, but It's been a couple weeks since I got to chat with you about this team, but I'm running out of words to describe this. And I'm running out of phrases to describe what we're watching right now with this team.
Crazy is about as good as it can go. I mean, the way it was, especially this weekend, was just such a nutshell of how the whole streak had been.
Yeah.
And then, my Alex at work and then JD have always said that the Brewers are fueled by my doubt. Because I just I think tonight's the night that the streak ends.
Yep.
And so on Friday they sent me a text from JD's like, Justice, I'm going to need you to really start doubting this incredibly hard right now. And I'm back. I'm like, yeah, tonight might be the night. And apparently they thought the game started at 6:35 in their heads, and they're down like that. And then all of a sudden they come back.
Yep.
It's just it is just crazy to think of what was going on. And then Saturday, it's it gets to the 8th inning, and I text them, the end is near. And then what happens? They come right back.
Please tell me you did that again yesterday.
And then yesterday,
okay.
I'm listening to it on the radio. God, what did I text? Oh yeah, I just put the end. The end. It was like a gif of a guy pulling down the shade that said the end. And then
Contreras hits the 2-run shot.
But then when they lost, I was like Icarus.
Yeah.
I flew too close to the sun. I used all my powers up, but it was just crazy how every time I thought it was over,
right?
They found a way. I mean, it was comical how crazy. And the Reds made it comical in a way too, because they helped them out.
Oh yeah,
a lot in those first 2 games, especially there, where it's like they're just making errors that you can't make in those situations.
But isn't that like kind of how the Brewers have done it though too? They're forcing you,
right?
They're putting that pressure on these teams. Like, you got to almost play perfect ball.
And ironically, that's what happened to the Brewers yesterday.
Exactly.
They just gave the Reds too many little chances there. Bryce Terang, playing out of position basically.
Yeah.
Unfortunately makes an error, gives the opening there, and next thing you know.
Yep.
But I mean, how fun was it? And like, it was almost like no doubt that Contreras is going to step up.
Right.
And find a way. Like, and a lot of these games I'm running around, so I'm watching on, the score tracker. And then you just look and you're like, how? Right. How did they do this again?
Yep.
So it's been an amazing run. They ran out of players too.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have a doubleheader after what was basically a bullpen game because the Miz just struggled.
On Friday, yeah.
Yep. They blew through so many pitchers. So it was a hard situation. Somebody was going to be the first guy to take a loss in that pitching staff. And we saw it yesterday because they ran out of their big guns to throw out there. Give Quintana a ton of credit for going out there and trying to go as long as he could, and he gave up 1 run.
Right, and it was one of those games too when you saw the lineup card, and it's like, okay, Monasterio's batting leadoff.
Yeah.
Durbin's batting second. Contreras is a DH. Yelich is playing left. But, you didn't have Isaac Collins in this series because of paternity leave.
Right.
Blake Perkins finally came back, from his bereavement leave. So you had him added in there, but no Sal Frelick either. So
right.
it's
they don't know when they're getting him back.
So it's like, okay. So, yeah, Quintana, ton of credit, kept them in that position.
Yep.
And that's what you got to do with that. But it's like, okay, Gus, you have not seen anything like this from a Brewers team ever, have you?
I mean, they had the winning streak. What was 20 last time they had
18 was
18, I believe so. But that didn't feel like this. And it wasn't back-to-back, basically. If you did with this and the other winning streak. I mean, they weren't quite back-to-back, but to go on a run, to be 34 games at one point now, over 500. Obviously, the thing that creeps in your head is peaking too early. And that's, you go out there and play the games. You're going to win the games if you're playing well.
Right.
And you can't control that. You'd rather that or not be in, like, what the whole peaking too early thing is where it's like, well, what are they going to do?
Exactly. That's what.
Go out and play 500 ball just to play 500 ball? No.
Right.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're winning. And they've been doing it with, the hitting, situational hitting. I don't know if I've seen a Brewer team that's ever been better than this team.
Right.
Like, they find a way, they can manufacture a run better than any team I've ever seen in Brewer. And it's such a contrast to what they were doing during the council years. A lot of the times it wasn't manufactured. It was like, okay, we're just going to swing hard.
Yep.
And hope that, we can find a way. It's not like it was that easy, but it really is what it felt like at times.
Yep.
And then, Pat Murphy comes in and it seems like it's just been a different philosophy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, just make contact.
Yep.
If it is, and that's what they do. They just make contact and they find a hole. It's just been so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get to a series here now. The series is huge, really, because it's either the Brewers can distance themselves from the Cubs. I mean, it could be a 13-game lead.
Yeah.
By the end of this, and by that point, the Cubs might not even be in second place if
Right.
it happens like that. Or it could be a 3-game lead.
Yeah.
And then you're right back to battling.
Mm-hmm.
So, either way, somebody's gaining a game in the series because it's a 5-game series.
Right.
So it's kind of fun in that way, but this is a big stretch for them because, I mean, what's the
no
next
off day until September 2nd.
Yeah.
Scheduled off day.
So this is a big, San Francisco is a team that's around 500. They're a team looking to jumpstart any hopes they have for a playoff berth. So this is going to be a big week for them and a lot of games. And something to be said, you're traveling as well.
Because you got Toronto mixed in at the end of the month here too. And I mean, the team that's chasing you for the best record in all Major League Baseball.
Right, exactly. Dalton Varsho putting up those, played like 40 games, has like 20
right.
Just monster numbers there from not quite that, but it's pretty close. But
right.
Yeah.
And then Philly after that. Yeah. So I mean, the team that is probably like maybe the biggest contender for I guess the Brewers for the National League. National League's loaded, I think, this year. But
we look at this, we were back there when they were 21 and 25, and we were talking about that stretch they were going on there. And obviously they went above and beyond expectations from what we ever thought they were going to do from that point on. Now let's hope you can stay at expectations here for this next. We've seen Brewers teams struggle in September and limp into the playoffs. And see that thing you always fear is that those bats going silent. And I don't think that's going to happen with this team because I think they're just a different team that's not relying on one big hit to get all the runs. They scrape and scrap. They're the woodpeckers. You know?
Murphy's back. Woodpeckers.
I mean, but no, they're not sneaking up on anybody now.
No.
You do this win streak like this twice in a year, the first team since 1935 in the National League to have 2 streaks like this.
Yep.
It's there's no sneaking up on it. Then you're going into Wrigley, which never been an easy place for the Brewers to play.
Right.
In 5 games. So
I don't know if you had a chance, I'm not like power rankings aren't the be all tell all. I look at them just to get a perspective of what others are thinking, and MLB.com still has the Brewers at number 1, but I love this line, 2 lines that they put in about the Brewers here. It says they still have the best record in baseball. They still have won 29 of their last 34 games, and they're still having more fun than is typically legal in the state of Wisconsin. And you know what? They're probably going to rattle off like 16 in a row the next month now anyways. So it's like,
who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with this team. I think, we talk about all the clutch hitting, but it's the pitching staff that's kept them in these situations. Even going back to the Miz struggling, to have a bullpen come out and put together inning after inning after inning in that game like they did. It's almost unheard of right now, in baseball to have that clutch of a bullpen. But my goodness, the way they've played and the way that Murphy knows how to run a pitching staff. That's part of it too. I mean, it is like a college team almost. And I think that's why it fits Pat Murphy. I mean, there's so many younger guys on this team, so many guys that are just getting breaks thanks to the Brewers.
Right.
And then you have your veteran leadership there with like Yelich and Woodruff, but wow, just a fun team to watch that knows how to scrap.
Right. And, you talk about looking ahead of the postseason and such, and what are some of the things, these really good teams in the postseason have? It's bullpens, which right now Brewers, pretty, up there. You talk about, the last year of Council, when they got to the postseason and such, they relied so much on that home run ball where it felt like if they were down 2-0, they weren't going to claw out of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, all right, we're still good. We still feel good about it. So you got that type of hitting and such. And we know the defense is up there outside of, a couple of miscues and that. But, you brought about Murphy handling the pitching. And I know he got a little heat yesterday taking Tobias out for Grant, and such. And Murphy said after the game because Grant is a ground ball pitcher, they were hoping for the double play with the runner on and such. But and it's one of those, if they get out of it, nobody's talking about it. But since it happened and it led to, what happened yesterday, everybody's doubting Murphy's decision and such. I also wondered how much of it came into play. Like, okay, let's try to preserve Tobias a little bit more too because of this stretch that we got going on here. He's a guy that can give you multiple innings, not only just for the Cubs, but it's the Giants, and then it's Arizona, then it's Toronto and Philly after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the role as a baseball manager, not just to coach, but it's also to kind of manage.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think I have no problem with him doing that. I mean, you're trying a strategy. And honestly, after all they've been through, yesterday's game was gravy.
Right.
You know, I mean, 15 in a row. But it's, you know, the fact that he's still thinking that strategy, they're not going to give away a game. That's a team that'll never give away a game. So, but he had to be smart.
Yeah.
And they've been, some might say overly cautious with some of their pitchers there, but that's because they want these guys available. And that's kind of been a curse for the Brewers, maybe a little bit, is always losing somebody right before the postseason. So they're doing their best to you know, preserve all this. Like Miz, if the Miz struggles again, they're going to pull him out early again.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him get shelled.
Yep.
Go out there, pitch 5 innings, give 10 runs. They're bringing him along slowly, and even if he has a good game, he's probably still only going 5 innings.
Right.
So that's just something you got to get used to, because they want him for the next 10, 15 years. They're not going to sacrifice him for one season.
Right.
So they have plenty of arms. So I think I can't even be mad about those decisions yesterday, because again, you're handcuffed, knowing what you have coming up here the next 5 days, and 4 days, the next 2 weeks, basically.
Exactly. And the other thing where I'm not going to be too hard on Pat Murphy, I got 78 other reasons why. 78 wins.
Right.
78-45.
Yeah.
You're talking 23 games over 500. I mean, that's or 33 games. Excuse me. Jeez, 33 games over 500.
It's to a number that we can't even comprehend anymore.
Right, exactly. So it's like, okay, I get it. Where someone like, was that the best? But I kind of trust Pat Murphy right now.
They can go 3 and whatever and still finish at 500.
Right.
Win just 3 games the next 2 months, and they're still going to finish at 500. So yeah,
I mean, everybody I think a lot of people predicted 80 wins, 81 wins on the season, and geez, they're just 3 away from that.
And I think the tough thing is, and I feel like this is kind of when it's the Badgers too, it's just a weird feeling when they're on top and considered a top team.
Yep.
Because you're so used to kind of always being from behind, because there's always going to be those powerhouse teams that are usually ranked ahead of you. So it's a weird feeling to see the Brewers like on top of those power rankings too. But something you got to, hopefully we get used to.
And a sizable lead too. It's not just like, they're a half game ahead of so-and-so,
right?
For the best record. They're up, 7 games over Toronto for the best record in Major League Baseball?
Yeah. There's just never been a stretch of Brewers baseball that I've seen.
No.
Like when you're playing a video game and you just like keep winning and winning. And
you got it on the easy setting or something like that,
It's
and you're just like, oh yeah, we're cruising through here. Is this even fun to play?
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
The other teams might think that it's on hard setting, because like when you're playing a game and you're like, and the computer's not going to let you win.
Yeah.
That's how the Brewers were, at least for those 15 games.
Right.
Now you could be up 7 runs, 6 runs, and the Brewers were going to find a way to scrape back. And so for that, I mean, if Pat Murphy if he finishes off this has got to be your manager of the year.
Got to be the first since Bobby Cox to go back to back.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I would say. I mean, for what the job he's done, and again, guys coming off the scrap heap again, rookies that are just going above and beyond. And you get somebody like Lockridge who comes in, you're like trying to like, wait a second, when did he get on the roster? It's like
that was a trade deadline acquisition.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, well, you know what? And then what's he do? He comes up clutch. Even yesterday on that sack fly, the catch he made at the wall.
Yeah,
that's the thing about the Brewers. Even when they're giving up runs, they're still making spectacular plays. So yeah, it has been enjoyable.
Looking at, so we know Freddie's going to get the starts for game 1, and there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on after that, because both teams got a little TBD for game 2. We could probably figure out who it's going to be and such, but
you get an extra player because of the doubleheader.
Right. So there's going to be some roster moves probably announced today. One of them probably going to be Isaac Collins. I would assume maybe back, added to the active roster after his paternity leave too, such. So there's going to be a little bit of movement here. And like you said, they get to add an extra player and such too. So maybe that guy's a Chad Patrick.
That's what the talk sounded like. The talk yesterday is who they were thinking, because he's been pitching well down in Nashville. So
right. I mean, you're talking about, he's gotten mentioned for some Rookie of the Year votes. Isaac Collins, Jacob Mizorowski, Caleb. You're talking 4 guys who have been mentioned for Rookie of the Year votes on this team.
They'll probably end up splitting them all, and somebody
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Probably like a Baldwin from Atlanta or something like that. But it's like you 4 guys there, and you look at, you talk about Pat Murphy, but it's like Matt Arnold again, probably for executive of the year, for crying out loud, for what he, the Quinn Priester trade when it first happened was like, oh, they gave up too much. Now you can say, where would this team be without a guy like Quinn Priester with his double-digit wins? And it's like, who else? You're just waiting for who's in every single game. It almost feels like it's somebody different that just kind of steps up.
I would love, it won't happen, but Christian Yelich getting mentioned in MVP voting. It just, it's so hard for Milwaukee, other than when he was hitting 50 home runs. But what he's done, I mean, beyond expectations of what anybody thought, him coming off a major back surgery.
Yeah.
Is just, he looks like the player of old, and good for him. And, there's, talking about Murphy was talking about how he felt to live up to that contract. And a lot of guys could be like, okay, I'm making the money, I don't need to try to work back to where I was. But man, he's just, out there. He's still, in your mind, he's still this kid playing out there, but he's one of the oldest guys on that team now. So it's been fun to watch him go out there and just hitting those opposite field home runs. And
that's when he's in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's been locked in like this last month. And it's the batting average is getting closer to where, would be for him, upper 200s. He's at 267 right now. So Sal Frelick's like top 5 NL batting average.
Yeah.
294. I was like, we were just like looking through this. I'm like, 294. It's like, yeah, he's like top 10. He gets to 300, he has a chance.
Collins is at 288.
Right. Yeah. I think it's like 3. Like it was Will Smith the last time I looked was leading with like a 310 or anything like. It's like might be the lowest batting average to win since I think like Yaz won it in the AL for a while ago.
That's my guy Salvatore Frelick.
Oh, he's the embodiment.
Yes.
Of that team.
Yep.
He really is, like running through a brick wall. Probably doubted because of his size.
Yep.
But has just been an outstanding player.
I mean, you can even see it in the dugout, the energy he brings, and just kind of like the character he can be. Like, I know I was watching it yesterday when Contreras hit the home run, and Contreras comes back to the dugout, and Frelick's there like watering Contreras, like feeding him water, and like just kind of goofing off and all that. But it's like, those are the type of guys you need in that dugout too, right?
And I think
keeping it loose in that, and
Murphy wants that.
Yep.
I think he wants that energy.
Yep.
He's I think that's again coming from that college experience. He's been around younger guys, and he knows that energy level that you need to maintain a long season and a successful season. And we're seeing that.
Yep.
Now, do I have to play devil's advocate quick?
Go for it.
There's a lot of close games in that 15-game winning streak that they were able to win.
Yeah.
Now your fear, and again, I'm not trying to be all negative. I'm just saying, like, there's gonna hopefully those games don't turn the other way. If you go with the whole juju and that kind of stuff of like the yin and the yang of a baseball season, that's where you get a little scared. It's like, have they used up all that? But
Jobu,
yeah, hats for bats. But I think this team's just got that scrappiness in them, that
grittiness, that just I was looking it up. So National League, Frelick is hitting 294, which is 5th. You got Xavier Edwards and Will Smith tied at 302. Freddie Freeman's 298, Marte's 297, and then Sal Frelick. It's not insurmountable for
I was trying to think of the last time. I remember Yaz had like a 301 in the AL. So it's like when the last time the National League leader finished potentially under 300 batting.
Yeah. I mean, American League is probably going to be Judge. He's 333, and I know he's been missing some time, but then it drops down to Aranda at 316. But yeah, you got 6 guys in the American League alone, 300 or higher at this point. So
yeah, it's weird because it feels like hitting's not that down compared to a couple of years ago where it was like just strike out 1-0 games. But I guess it's weird that there's just that lack of. Where's our Tony Gwynn's?
Yes.
Guys who, Boyd Boggs, who could hit 300 in their sleep.
Yep.
Trying to find the last sub 300 to lead.
Going back to, Yelich here quick, 25 home runs that he has this season and 812 OPS. Obviously leading the team in home runs with 25. The guy that's second in home runs is somebody, and I know we kind of talked a little bit about it last week, but and this is not a knock on him, and we're probably not going to see him maybe till next month, is Jackson Cheerio.
Right.
But you talk about this winning streak and you talk about them putting together these wins. How often can you say that a team is missing one of their best, maybe their best player talent wise, and they're still winning and really not missing a beat? I don't think it's a Ewing effect where it's like, oh, they're playing better without Jackson. It's not that. It's just it's another example of all these guys that are just like, all right, Jackson's out, next man up. They're living up to that definition.
Yeah. There's never a doubt, it seems like, when they put another guy in, like Lockridge coming in.
Right.
It's like it's off the scrap heap and performing. So that goes to the scouting department.
Yeah.
To find these guys, to know that front office staff of these guys can come in and and Andrew Vaughn obviously is the shining example of that.
Right.
But again, these are, a lot of guys that aren't names that come in and just been performing in clutch situations.
Right. I mean, Brewers right now are still missing 2 of their top 5 home run hitters, with Rhys Hoskins, who's tied for 4th, and Jackson Cheerio, who's 2nd.
Yeah, so they're gonna get addition. And, they didn't have to make those moves because they just have guys coming back.
Right.
So
I mean, it's going to be tough decisions, like who plays when Hoskins is back and such. But I'd rather have them have those tough decisions instead of like what Brandon said on Friday, for example. They're not forced to try to get something out of a Josh Donaldson like they did a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah, you don't see that happening in the playoffs where somebody gets left off.
Right.
And you're bringing in a veteran Jesse Winker, just to have a veteran on there.
Right.
They really don't have that.
Right.
Maybe Rhys Hoskins is going to be the question mark. Well, what do you do when he comes back? But it's a guy who can hit a ton of home runs.
And he's got that September, October experience.
Yeah. And the DH makes things so much easier.
Yep.
You have that extra bat that somebody's going to be able to rest, yet still swing.
Yep.
So,
and you could play the matchups a little bit too, a little bit more that way. So, yeah, it's just the fact that they're going to be getting some of these guys back too. It's like, hey, now here we go.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I can't wait. I feel like this is a playoff series coming up with the Cubs. I feel like it's going to be a nerve-wracking series. It's got that rivalry mixed into it.
Yep.
Emotions are going to be high on both sides. Brewers would love nothing more than to, I call it whack-a-mole, keep whacking them down in the standings. Cubs know how huge this is if they still want to try to win this division.
Right.
They got to come into this thing. I mean, I got to imagine tensions are going to be high from fans and players. But this is, if we look at it from a Brewer side, best outcome, you're pushing the Cubs down maybe double digits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And think about that. Double digits as we enter
in the
September.
final month of the season. Yeah. I mean, that would be huge.
And you don't play the Cubs anymore in the regular season after this.
I think the Cubs obviously are probably looking at this maybe even bigger than the Brewers are, because the Cubs, it's their last chance to throw a lifeline to get to that top again.
Yeah, I think if we ask who's it more important for, it's probably the Cubs.
Right.
To win the series.
But the Brewers will be playing it big, though, too.
Oh, yeah. They know. They know. So, all right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back after these quick words. We'll make some picks, too, with this series. Coming up after these few words. Every hunter knows success in the deer woods starts long before opening morning. And for me, that prep always includes making a stop at Tilden Gun. They've got everything you need to make this season your best. Rifles, scopes, you name it, they got it. And it's not just the gear, it's the know-how. Tilden Gun, well, they can help you find the proper gear that'll help you in the woods. Deer season's coming up here, people. Believe it or not, it's just a little over a month away. Remember, those antlerless tags go on sale this week, starting today, too. So to get ready for this upcoming deer season, don't leave it to chance. Get right up to Tilden Gun, your trusted partner for gear and a successful hunt. You can check out their new website at tildengun.com. All right. Hey, before we get to some picks, I would be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts. Scotty Scheffler, your boy. Again, another win yesterday. That chip.
Oh,
I mean, I'll say it. I mean, now you're going to get more of the Tiger talk, right?
Right.
With that, but that was a heck of a chip.
I feel like that bandwagon, even though it should be full, has really started. Like, you had Patrick Mahomes tweeting about it and stuff like that. I think people are starting to see, not something I saw a long time ago. No, I don't want to brag but I've always liked Scotty. So it's just but that was just stone cold. Like, that was Tiger Woods-esque. And like his reaction, and it was just perfect. And it just shows how clutch he is.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching something that we haven't seen since Tiger.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2 yet?
I have.
Okay. I don't want to get into a movie critique, but I think
we could do a whole hour about that if we wanted to.
But I will say, I thought, or I think the performance of Scotty Scheffler actually helps his public image a little bit too. You know what I'm trying to get, you know, because what has been a criticism of him is kind of boring, you know, not a whole, but then you see him in a movie like that where he makes fun of himself, kind of, you know, goes back to the PGA arrests and all that. But I think that kind of helps his image a little bit, something like that.
I do too, because I think it's effortless.
Yeah.
Like, everything he does, he is a grinder and is probably the most competitive. That people talk about his competitiveness, but he comes out there and it doesn't look like it's bothering him.
Right.
And he just goes out there, does the job. But I think you're seeing that personality come out a little bit. And I think if you watch his press conferences, there's plenty of personality there.
Right.
He's just
not the fist pumping Tiger on the course and yelling and screaming, you know, that sort of thing.
Tiger was so hyper competitive.
Yep.
And kept everything so close to, the vest there with, it didn't let anybody see it. I think we've seen a lot of Scotty, but it's not like there's not a whole lot. Like,
he's like Tim Duncan, like you've said before. Right. You know, he's an all-time great. He's got the personality of a Tim Duncan, whereas Tiger's maybe more of the Kobe Jordan, you know, very vocal type of expression.
But you watch him out, and those players out there though know how hard of a player he is to crack.
It's almost like one of those silent killers.
Yeah, he's like, if you remember watching the Friday the 13th movies. Like Jason, he's walking through the woods.
Yep. And somehow he catches the kids that are always running, you know.
And I think that's what it's like with Scheffler out there, because he doesn't make the big mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple of bad putts there on the back nine, and you get kept McIntyre like a stroke behind there, and that's what it got to at 17. And then he just pulls out just the most perfect shot, bump and run basically out of that rough there that goes right into the hole.
Yep.
That's his signature shot. I think that's probably one of his biggest signature shots to date. And one we'll see, I think, for years down. I mean, the Tiger, you can think of all those different shots. I think we're starting to get a compilation now of Scotty shots here now.
Yep. So, all right.
By the way, the answer, Carl Yastrzemski is the lowest batting average leader, 1968, 301.
301.
So the National League leaders right now are at 302.
They're hovering around it.
Yeah.
Could be.
So that could happen.
Well, in this day and age in baseball, I mean, is it that far out of the realm to one day see a guy lead an average, but it's under 300?
Oh, I think it could happen this year. I mean, it really could if those guys falter at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to by far be the lowest National League average to ever lead. I don't think they're, unless they have one of those players just goes on a hot streak and bumps it up into the teens, it'll be one of the lowest ones in the National League.
Yeah. Hey, really quick before we get to picks here too, because I wanted to bring this up earlier, but I just saw the graphic to make it a little bit easier for me. I don't know. I was watching a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball last night because they were at the Little League World Series playing, which I thought was a cool thing. I will say this: kudos to Rob Manfred for over the years. I mean, you have the game at Field of Dreams.
Yep.
And then last year, I'm blanking on the park, but Hank Aaron, the Negro League park that they played at, Little League World Series, one in Pennsylvania. Cool thing. I like what they're doing.
Speedway.
Yeah.
This year.
Yep. And Rob Manfred was on. They were doing an interview with him, and he did kind of hint at. He was asked about expansion and stuff, and he did hint at a potential geographic realignment if they did expand. And he kind of talked about, the matchups, late matchups, and all that sort of stuff, and trying to better expose that. And I saw this graphic pop up. Potentially, if that were the case where they expanded that, you could be seeing Twins, Brewers, Cubs, Cardinals in the same division.
The Twins would bump over to the NL.
They
make the Brewers move for the third time.
They call it the National League North.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is from New York Sports. They use this graphic from New York Post and that, but that's kind of what they would have it as, is that would be the division. And then Tigers, Guardians, Reds, White Sox would be in the AL North.
Huh.
I think it would increase that Minnesota rivalry, Twins and Brewers, a little bit.
Right.
It's kind of like that. I call it the Midwest friendly rivalry between Twins and Brewers. Because, I don't have a problem with the Twins.
No.
If it's Brewers Twins, I'm going to root for the Brewers. But if Brewers are out of it, I don't care if the Twins win.
Right. Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean, that would be. We're probably 5-10 years away from this, though, right?
I think so. Yeah. Because this is with. I mean, I can't tell on this graphic if they have the new teams on there. It's pretty small, so I'd have to see where a new team would be kind of fitted in on there. But yeah, I don't know.
It's weird because you really haven't heard a lot of talk MLB wise, expansion wise, in a while.
Not in a while. I think a lot of it kind of simmered with the A's going to Vegas,
right?
Because that was like, oh, we got to get one in Vegas. Well, now the A's are there, so
you give Oakland a team back? Probably not.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Montreal's not getting a team back.
I know they've always talked about would Tampa move, but I mean that's So they do. It looks like they've got an icon here in the Carolinas, a team in the
Charlotte.
Probably.
So, yeah. I know Charlotte's been mentioned a lot. So
interesting.
Yeah, that would be neat. It's a weird one. I still think of the Astros as an NL team, and it's much like the Seattle Seahawks for my mind. We're an AFC team until I'm like, oh yeah, they're in the NFC now. Now it doesn't bother me, but it took me a while to get used to that when teams switch conferences.
Yeah, so they would have Astros would be AL South, Rockies would be moving to the AL,
and obviously now that there's no DH, or there is DH in both leagues, it doesn't change stuff as much as it would have been.
Right.
I loved the Brewers moving to the NL back in the day. I think that move was perfect just for the timing and I enjoyed NL baseball style a lot better than AL, but now it's all AL. So I miss I know I'm probably in the minority here, but I miss the pitchers hitting. I missed the strategy of that. That was one thing I feel like is lost was the pinch hitter strategy, double switches, and just all that kind of stuff.
It would be interesting to see how this Brewers team would do with no DH.
I think they'd be fine.
Yeah,
I think that's something Pat Murphy would excel at as well.
Might be no, to play devil's advocate, might be no Isaac Collins then.
Right.
Because Yelich would probably be primarily in left field, obviously.
Well, there's definitely been players that wouldn't got a chance. I mean, that's why it's there. It gives every team another player. The players love it because it gives another guy who's on the major league roster and getting playing time. So I understand that.
I do wonder if it would have extended Braun's career more if they had it earlier.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's guys who wish they would have in the NL would have had a chance to just play the DH.
Yep.
And go out there and not have to worry about the field, especially if you have back injuries like that.
Right. So, all right, just a few minutes. Let's pick some games here. We're going to save that Brewers and Cubs doubleheader for our last one. So, Houston taking on the Detroit Tigers. Kind of a sneaky good series here.
Yeah. Tigers took 3 of 4 from the Twins. Hard to bet against the Tigers right now.
Yeah. So. Jack Flaherty's on the mound, too, for the Tigers. So,
I'm guessing Skubal will be pitching the last game of that series since he pitched against the Twins on the first game. So I'll go Tigers.
I'm gonna go Tigers too. Cardinals and the Marlins might actually not be a bad series.
No. I'll go Marlins.
That's where I'm gonna go too.
I feel like it's a team that's just kind of hasn't quite got over the hump yet.
Right.
Well, the Cardinals have just kind of been stuck in neutral all year.
Yep. Toronto and Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens is on the mound tonight.
It'd be another. Skeens will look to bounce back, but I'm going to go Toronto.
Toronto's too good. I got to go Toronto. Another. Well, we saw it last night. The Mets got the victory, but Seattle. Or no, excuse me, we did not see it. Seattle beat the Mets last night. Seattle at Philadelphia now.
Ooh, that's a good matchup. That is there.
A good
one. I'll go Philly.
I'm gonna go Philly too. Baltimore at Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Baltimore's been playing a little bit better lately, though.
I'm gonna go Boston. White Sox, Braves. Spencer Strider on the mound tonight.
Braves.
Yeah. Rangers, Royals.
The Royals, a team that can't score runs, but they still keep somehow winning games. I'll go Royals. Just give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'll go Rangers for this one. Dodgers, Rockies. Do I need to ask?
Come on, Rockies.
Reds, Angels.
I think maybe the Reds ride a little more momentum after that win. They haven't been playing bad baseball.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they got to go all the way to the West Coast for this one, though, but I'm going to go with the Reds. Cleveland and Arizona.
I'll go with the Guardians. Their team, Philip always says they always make this run to keep them in it. And so, yeah, I'll go
Guardians, too. How about Giants and Padres? Former friend Nestor Cortez getting the starts.
Let's go Padres.
I'm going to go Padres. And then the 2 games. Brewers, Cubs. Split, sweep, 2 game. Not, you know what I mean. So,
yeah. I'll keep my doubting going. I'll say split.
Okay.
So if they get the sweep, my mojo is powering.
I'm going to play the odds and go split.
Yeah. I just
go
think
1-1. Yep.
After you have a run like that, maybe come back a couple games here.
Yeah. But okay, so let me ask you before you go, 1 minute left. Who wins the series though between Brewers Cubs?
Brewers 3-2.
Brewers 3-2.
Yeah, I like it as a 5. It's kind of neat to have that.
I actually think I know the Brewers have a ton of games in a row, but I think the fact that they've got this pitching depth actually helps the Brewers in a series like this. They got these arms. I would take the Brewers pitching over the Cubs pitching. I think that's the benefit for them. So I'm going to go. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Brewers win the series too.
There we go.
So, but it's going to be a doozy.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Be a very, very, very fun one. So, all right, only about 30 seconds and the shot clock cuts us off. Big thanks again, man.
No problem.
Best of luck for the upcoming football season for you and your whole crew over there. And again, it begins Thursday already. So,
yeah,
back riding the bicycle.
It'll be fun. Tune in on Friday. We'll have all 3 of us out there on the desk. Thursday, it'll just be me. I'm selfish like no. Ease those guys into it. Then, Friday we'll have the big show.
Awesome. Good stuff. So we appreciate you taking some time. DP and the Dads are up next. Have yourself a fantastic Monday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., same time, same place. See you then.